What are the best side hustle ideas to start in 2022? And I want to talk about, really based on my experience, what I think is the best to start if you're just starting from zero, if you have a current business, maybe you have a full-time job and you're considering starting a freelance hustle, a side hustle, and eventually turn it into the full-time business. So from my experience, being running an agency for the last few years now on Fiverr, I tried a lot of different ways. I tried to sell courses, I tried to run services, I tried to sell webinars, memberships as well. So I have honestly tried a lot of ideas, because when you are looking on Instagram, on Facebook, scrolling the feed, you can see a lot of experts, a lot of people trying to sell you courses, trying to run ads where they say that you can be getting the same results, you can be making a lot of money as well. But the reality is different. And from my experience, I've been always kind of like the guy who is not really comfortable into selling courses and running my ads and promising amazing, making millions of dollars, right? I never been comfortable doing that. Although I tried doing that with my Fiverr course a few years back. I tried to do several other things as well. But the reality is, when you get a student or you get a client, right, you still, obviously every person is different. So when you're selling information, you have to still understand that everything depends on that person, right? So that person still has to put in the work, has to follow your structure, the person has to be motivated, right? So of course, when you look at all of these people who buy courses, maybe not all of them, of course, are going to be successful, right? Because every person is different. Some people put in the work, some people don't put in the work. And that's why the first side hustle I want to talk about is running your Fiverr gigs, right? So when you go to the Fiverr marketplace, and especially right now, it has been changing a lot. So I started in 2015, where it was completely different. The services were pretty much all at $5. Right now, the prices are much higher, and the Fiverr doesn't consider to be a $5 thing. It's much more now. And if you look, take your time and look at different categories, you have to really try different gigs and try to come up with different ideas. I honestly believe that Fiverr, and you can do the same on Upwork, on any other freelancing platforms, but I take Fiverr as an example because that's what I went through and that's what I've seen people from my experience, people who I have helped, they also been in the same situation before, and Fiverr helped them in a certain way. So you have to obviously understand what you're going to be enjoy doing. But when you go on Fiverr, you can see there is so many different categories, gigs, sellers, and that's why it's very important to really understand what are you passionate about. For example, from my side, I've been always passionate about running services, meaning that I take care of the client account, I'm responsible for the growth, I'm responsible for the progress on the client account, right? So this has been something that I've been always passionate, because I remember from doing this from 2015 until 2020, when I took a break. For 5 years, I was never demotivated, I was never exhausted, I was really always enjoying the process, the work as well. And that means that it was very successful, and it is successful. So this is something you need to understand, because if you're going to be doing something that you know that you can be making a lot of money, but in reality, you're not going to enjoy the process, it's going to be very difficult, and eventually it's not going to be successful, right? So that's why you have to check other gigs. You have to check other categories. One of the most hot categories is digital marketing, of course. So you can do a lot of services in digital marketing. You can do social media marketing. You can do management. You can do consultation. You can do design as well. You can come up with a strategy. You can run the pages by doing certain actions. You can run ads as well, right? So if you feel you're passionate about it, and you like this digital marketing, I highly encourage you to start creating several gigs and really understand the market and understand the work process as well. Let's say if you enjoy writing articles, PDF, maybe some documents, or if you enjoy writing descriptions, maybe Amazon descriptions, or if you're just enjoying that writing process, you have so much opportunities there as well. You can do a lot of different things, especially Fiverr is always coming up with new categories, subcategories, that's what it's called, as you can see here. And the same, look, LinkedIn profiles, right? You can do book editing, you can do job descriptions. Honestly, it's just crazy how much potential you have here. But you have to understand, if you like writing, that's going to work. If you're a native speaker, English speaker, obviously that's going to be good. If you're not a native speaker, that might be challenging, although of course you might be able to speak really well and do everything perfectly, so that might be another option for you. Let's say video animation, right? If you're passionate about videos, creating, editing videos, that could be another option. There's a lot of opportunities here as well. So in the end, you have to, I consider Fiverr as a place where you just go out there and start practicing, because first of all, you're gonna have more orders coming, like, eventually it's gonna take some time to get that first orders, but eventually you're gonna have people coming to you. You can see their profiles, you can analyze the profiles, you can also see their need, their issues. It's like the place where you just do this sort of research and understand what people are struggling with and what you can do to help them, right? So from my experience, I've been working with tens of thousands of people into digital marketing space, and I see their issues, I see their problems, right? So once you realize that and understand that, you can also do something different, and it could be besides Fiverr. You can do this at the same time, you can do this outside of Fiverr. So what I mean by that is running your consulting business or agency business outside, right? So I want to give this example to one of the person which I honestly admire, because this guy, Trey, he just built his consulting business from scratch, and he's doing extremely well now, and he has been always real about his stuff, right? So he always shows up and talks about the real stuff, talks about the results. His main, because when you run anything, let's say outside of Fiverr, you need to have a strong funnel, right? If you don't have a funnel, you're not gonna get clients. Like, let's say your day goes by, you're not gonna get just clients coming to you if you don't have any funnels or any systems in place. So you have to be reaching out to people, you have to be talking to people, you have to be getting on the calls with people, right? So that's what Trey does. Trey has an incredible funnel, which basically lets you, right now he has a case study funnel, but he always changes this. So most of the time he has a schedule a call funnel where people can schedule a call if they're interested in his work. And then he jumps on the call, he provides value, shows the case studies, and then he sells for his either program or a service or any other things that he's selling, right? So, but it's very clear, as you can see, all the traffic, Instagram, TikTok, let's say LinkedIn, YouTube, goes into this funnel, which is a schedule call funnel. And then afterwards, people can just jump on the call and you can sell to them. And imagine he's selling high ticket. So let's say if you do 10 calls, you're charging maybe several thousands of dollars, or, let's say $1,000 or maybe a little bit less, it will be still a very good money, right? So you think about it, you don't need to be always doing these calls all the time, because you can also build a system where you have a person jumps on the calls and just basically do the selling part, right? But this is something that it's very interesting, especially in 2022, because running your consulting agency or just digital marketing agency has a lot of potential. And if you're running it outside, just remember you need to have your social media profiles, you need to speak about the things that you will be helping others with, so that people can be interested, and then once they click in the bio, they will schedule a call with you, you jump on the call and you provide them value. So this is very important to consider. You can do the same on TikTok, and also there is another agency which I want to show. They run Google ads, Facebook ads as well, very organic ads, nothing crazy, just like showing. Most of the time is the Iman. He's the founder of the IG Media, and he always shows himself on the Facebook, on Instagram, right? And he just run organic ads. Is exactly the same as Trey, where in this case he brings people to schedule a call, free case study. So he's gonna send a free case study, and once you click on the give me free case study, you'll be able to schedule a call, right? So again, he's very clear exactly who is gonna help. He's helping info product businesses and e-commerce businesses as well. Only that, he doesn't work with anyone else. And if we go to his let's say his homepage, right? So if I go here, you can see it's more in detail and how it says, right? So you have e-commerce, info product businesses, produce spine-chilling ROI via paid advertising, right? So he's using only paid advertising, in this case, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. He's not doing any website design, content creation. He's very specific. So that's why when you sell something outside, you have to be very niche specific. But honestly, if you look at the dynamics and what is happening right now, NFTs are blowing up like crazy, and I do believe if you try to niche down and maybe like provide services in NFT space, running ads for NFT projects, because right now Facebook actually allows you to do that. You cannot really do that with cryptocurrency. You have to like have a manual approval, but if you run your ads for NFT, Facebook approves them automatically, right? So that's another great benefit. So you can run ads for NFT projects. You can, let's say, manage content, because this is just the examples of what kind of service you can be providing. You can manage content creation, let's say for NFT as well. You can do Instagram growth for NFT. You can do PR campaigns for NFT, right? So I do believe you have to look at the trends and see what is growing, what is coming up, and then eventually you have to niche down, because if you do this service for everyone, it's not going to be successful, especially when you do this outside. Maybe yes, on Fiverr, maybe you can be like, I will create a WordPress website for your business. Maybe you can do that. But if you do it outside of Fiverr, you have to be, I'll create a WordPress business for your NFT launch or collection, because that way you'll be able to drive more traffic, and then you'll be able to have better results as well. So one of the last things I want to talk about is, of course, you can also start a YouTube channel, and you can see from my examples here how I've been running my YouTube channel. I mean, my numbers are not something incredible here, right? But I still want to show you, because this is still a great passive income, and I would say in a way, right, where the channel is new, but you have to always test different things. That's why I think it's good when you're just getting started. You can always do different topics and see which ones are working, which ones are not working, right? But honestly, my channel has been very, just, I'll say very chill in a way, because I'm not really making a lot of money, but still I see the progress. And you can see, for example, if I go to the revenue, and then if I go for last 90 days, let's say, right? I mean, it's still kind of like consistent. It's still, there's this sort of positive dynamic here, right? And you never know when it's gonna blow up. That's why you have to stay consistent in anything you do. Fiverr, agency outside, consulting business, you have to stay very consistent, because the problem is that people stopping after 6 months or after 2 months, after 1 month, right? And you have to stay consistent, make those small steps, but you never know it's gonna blow up, right? And you have to look at the trends. You have to analyze better which videos are bringing you income, which videos are working, so you can understand which videos you can focus more on creating in the future. So pretty much the last thing I want to talk about is starting your paid newsletter. The newsletters have been one of the great ways to build an audience, monetize the audience as well. And if you think about it, you can be running a newsletter and you can be making, let's say, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 per month by just writing the newsletter. And one of the great, like for example, if you go to Substack, I think it's a great platform just to make things very simple, to not overcomplicate, because you can do this with MailChimp, with other things, right? But if you go on Substack, it's very simple, very straightforward, and you can just start writing today, right? And it's free. They only charge 10% on the money you're gonna be made on pretty much once you launch your paid newsletter, monetize. People who are gonna be paying, they will just take 10% of that. So for example, here you can see one of the biggest newsletters, right? It has at least tens of thousands of subscribers at $22 per month. So if you do the math, I mean, after the cut, these guys are making around $90,000 per month, right? And they're just writing a Substack newsletter. So that's, as you can imagine, could be incredible business, right? And this is a little bit different model, because in this case you still have to put a lot of work, because you have to build an audience, you have to drive more interest in order for people to subscribe. So you have to stay extremely consistent. You have to always write the content, because if you think about, okay, I can just start my newsletter today and I'll be making thousands of dollars, of course it's not true, because you have to always come up with interesting topic. This niche in general, the newsletters are extremely competitive as well. So whoever stays the most consistent and come up with interesting topics, it's gonna win, right? So in this case, Bankless, they are writing about the NFT, Ethereum, Bitcoin, crypto news, right? So they're just covering a a lot about that, and that's what makes them successful, because this is the industry which not many people are exactly aware what's happening there, right? So they want to read something like Bankless, so they'll be more informed, and that's going to save them time instead of doing like many hours of research. So this is another great way. And don't look at crypto and think about, okay, I'm going to start crypto. Still go into your passions, because if you're going to do crypto, the problem is if you're not passionate about it, it's not going to really be successful, because after, let's say, 2 months, you'll be exhausted, you don't know what to write, and you'll be just forcing yourself to do that. And that's the worst thing that you want to do. You want to make sure when you're doing something, you're really enjoying that process. So you have to be enjoying writing. If it's a travel, if you like about travel, write about travel. If you like about, let's say, finance, write about finance. If you like about sports, news, in this case, arts, illustration, feel free to write about that, right? So that's why it's important to understand it. The last thing which I want to talk about is, if you're still interested to launch a course, I want to suggest you to go and do that, for example, on the platforms like Udemy. You can do Skillshare, because this is something that it's been interesting for me, that it has been going. It's not, for me, it brings me revenue so far. The Udemy's bring me around $200 per month, which is not a lot. Yes, if you might think in the other way, it is a lot, because I'm not really putting work every day into this, right? So I'm recording videos, I have a community which is growing, but because the Udemy model is a little bit, let's say, different if you're going to start selling your courses on your own platform, right? Because I feel like for me, when I sell courses on Udemy, I'm just focusing on creating content, updating content, right? Building an audience. And I feel like the people who are consuming that content, they really like this format in a way that I don't really need to like be talking to my students every day, for example, right? I don't need to be doing those things. Although I'm active, I'm present, whenever someone asks, I'm there, right? But it's still a great model, because it's more a passive model. And if you, the same like Fiverr and other places, if you start building slowly your Udemy career, eventually in 1 to 3 years, you're gonna have more students every time, and eventually it's gonna be growing organically. And that's another good practice before, let's say, you launch your own program, your own course, because courses are also very successful. You just have to be very passionate. You can go and launch a Udemy course and see how it's gonna be doing. So guys, please feel free to share in the comments, what do you think maybe the best idea to start in 2022? What is your idea? What are you working on? Please feel free to share it. I'm always thankful for all of your comments, all of your support. And once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned and see you in the next one.